Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, here's maybe the single most important forecast we pulled from this week's research. In 2025, change won't just be constant. It's going to accelerate, like really accelerate. So much so that if you haven't fundamentally updated how you work in the last, say, 2 years, you are already falling behind.
That's the stark reality of this AI-augmented world we're stepping into. We've looked at sources detailing exactly why that speed up is happening and maybe more importantly, what you can actually do about it.
Right, and this isn't just, generic career advice.
No, not at all. We're synthesizing 8 specific skills that really differentiate the high performers from everyone else.
So our mission here is to give you the blueprint. By the end of this conversation, you'll know exactly what those top performers are prioritizing. We're talking about the foundational mindset and the tech superpowers you need to, well, future-proof your career.
Think of it as the shortcut. Understanding what actually matters most now, especially in this hybrid sort of tech-heavy environment.
The goal really is to stop feeling so overwhelmed, right? By just the sheer amount of new stuff hitting your inbox, like every single day.
Exactly. Stop that feeling.
And that feeling, it's universal, isn't it? That constant need to catch up, learn a new platform again, always feeling like you're trying to navigate, I don't know, rush hour in downtown LA or maybe Mumbai traffic, just total chaos until you figure out the system.
Oh, that analogy definitely hits home. That feeling of being overwhelmed. It's the #1 progress killer. But here's the thing. The solution isn't trying to absorb everything. It's about mastering the adaptive foundation.
Okay.
If you don't build this first core insight, honestly, all the technical skills, they're just built on sand.
Okay, let's dig into that then, this critical foundation. Adaptive learning and a growth mindset. It builds resilience, you said, but what does that actually look like, on a Monday morning?
It fundamentally means changing your relationship with mistakes, with setbacks.
Right.
Instead of seeing a failure as like a personal failing or a hard stop, the adaptive mindset just treats every single failure as feedback, pure data. You're building a learning lifestyle, not just ticking some box for professional development.
Okay, but how do people actually build that muscle? Because, wanting it is one thing, but actually doing it.
Right. They structure their time.
Yeah.
Really aggressively. The practice we see popping up consistently is introducing learning sprints into the weekly routine.
Learning sprints.
Yeah. Dedicate maybe 2 focused hours every single week to mastering one new concept, one new tool, no distractions. And crucially, once a month, you have to pause. Reflect on the last 4 sprints, see what worked, what didn't, and adjust your plan. It's about continuous calibration, not just constant input.
That makes it feel much more doable, actionable. Okay, so once that mindset is getting more resilient, then we can talk about the tools, the things that give you that disproportionate power.
Precisely. If adaptability is the foundation, then our second big insight AI and data mastery, that's the new technical superpower.
And you're saying we're past just using AI, now it's about directing it.
Exactly. The highest earners, they're actively directing it. And the most powerful skill here isn't necessarily coding anymore. It's AI, prompt engineering, and human-machine collaboration.
Okay, but most people hear prompt engineering and think, just typing, write me an email into a chatbot. The research suggests it's way more sophisticated than that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The real superpower is crafting those clear, context-rich prompts, giving the AI the right information. But the leading edge, the really interesting part, it's exploring low-code AI platforms.
Low code.
Yeah, tools that let non-engineers, people like you and me perhaps, rapidly prototype specialized AI solutions. Solutions that actually amplify human creativity for your specific job, not just handle basic stuff.
That's interesting. I also saw the sources stressed this can't exist in a vacuum. You need to understand basic AI ethics alongside it: fairness, transparency, privacy.
Yes, that ethical awareness is non-negotiable. You can't optimize output if you don't grasp the implications of the data you're feeding the model. And that leads us straight into the second part of this superpower: data literacy and storytelling.
Ah, okay. Because raw data is everywhere now.
Everywhere and cheap, but the skill that separates people who make decisions, it's interpreting that data and weaving it into compelling narratives that actually drive action.
So it's the difference between just showing a chart and making people care about what that trend line means for the business.
Exactly. You need to master the data pitch. That means translating complex, number-heavy insights into crystal clear, actionable recommendations. For someone who isn't a data scientist.
Which involves?
Well, Mastering visualization principles, simplicity, clarity, knowing your audience, and yeah, actually getting comfortable with a tool like Power BI or Tableau, enough to build dashboards that tell that story effectively.
Okay, so we've got the mindset. We've got the tech superpowers, AI, and data. Now, if machines are handling more the routine, the numbers, what's left for us? What's the unbreakable human advantage here?
Right, and this is where things get really interesting. The sources argue pretty strongly that the so-called soft skills, they're actually the hardest skills now.
Hmm.
And they are absolutely essential for leadership, especially in this distributed hybrid world.
Let's start with connection then, because that's tough when you're mostly looking at screens,
It
right?
is, and that's where emotional intelligence and empathy at scale comes in.
Hmm.
This is crucial for managing teams that might be spread out, working asynchronously. It's what really marks out a great manager today. You're leading people who might collaborate more with an AI than with each other sometimes.
Wow.
So the manager has to be that central point of human trust.
Okay, but let's be real. We all here be empathetic, but how many managers really have time for detailed stuff like, empathy mapping? Isn't that just a consultant buzzword?
That skepticism is totally fair. And yeah, if it's too complicated, it just gets ignored. But the research points to two really practical, high-leverage things. First, rigorous active listening,
Meaning?
meaning you actually reflect back what the person said before you jump in with your response.
Mhm.
It confirms you understood, and it diffuses tension, like instantly. Second, the core of empathy mapping isn't that complex. It's really just about quickly mapping out your stakeholders' motivations and their pain points. You can do a basic version in 10 minutes.
And the goal is?
Fostering psychological safety, making it okay for people to be vulnerable, to raise concerns without fear of blame.
Got it. Okay, that covers connection. What about innovation? If AI optimizes existing stuff, where does our human creativity fit in for generating new ideas?
That's creative problem solving and design thinking. It's about structured creativity. Innovation doesn't just happen randomly. There's usually a process.
Okay, so what's the framework? What are the key parts?
Well, you typically start by empathizing. And that means really interviewing users, digging deep to uncover hidden needs, not just asking what features they want.
Right.
Then you ideate. You force diverse solutions using structured brainstorming techniques, like maybe using scamper substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, reverse. It's a simple way to force new angles.
Okay.
And finally, you have to rapidly prototype and test. Build low-fidelity, quick and dirty versions of your solutions and get feedback fast. Iterate. That willingness to test and fail fast, that loops right back to the adaptive mindset we started with.
I see how it all connects now. Failure in prototyping just becomes more feedback for the next learning sprint.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the core pillars: mindset, tech, human connection. But you mentioned these efforts are kind of useless if they aren't visible and secure. Let's talk about those maintenance skills.
Yeah, these often feel like the boring stuff, the homework. But honestly, neglecting them. It's career suicide in 2025. We absolutely have to start with remote collaboration and asynchronous communication. Hybrid work isn't going away, so being excellent at virtual collaboration, non-negotiable.
Which means we all have to get really good at writing, don't we?
Yes. And not just writing, but structuring information clearly for people who might be reading it late at night in a totally different time zone. You have to master asynchronous tools, polished, concise written updates, well-organized project boards, clear tickets.
And the key insight there is?
Mastering digital etiquette. Timely responses, concise language, using inclusive phrasing that works across different cultures and platforms. Seriously, no more 300-word emails when 5 bullet points would do the job.
Okay, point taken. Related to that, visibility, digital marketing, and personal branding. If your work isn't seen.
It doesn't count as much as it should. And this is where high performers are shifting focus. They're using branding not for vanity, but as a deliberate platform to share their expertise. Moving away from just chasing general influence towards being seen as a niche thought leader.
What does that look like practically for someone listening?
Develop a consistent voice, maybe a visual identity, that reflects your specific area of expertise. Learn the basics of how SEO and platform algorithms work, especially for short-form video, because like it or not, that's still the attention engine.
And community.
Yes, start building a community. Experiment. Host niche live Q&As, maybe start a super focused newsletter. Your online presence should build your intellectual authority, not just be a resume dump.
Okay, visibility covered. But you hinted at one more thing, something that could derail all of this, our hidden bonus insight.
Correct. Even if you nail the 7 skills we just covered, There's one vulnerability that can absolutely wreck your career, maybe even your organization, and that's cybersecurity awareness and digital hygiene.
Ugh, often feels like just another corporate checklist item, right? But with hybrid work, the risk profile has totally changed.
It really has. We rely so much on cloud services, personal devices.
Mm.
Understanding the behavioral side of cybersecurity is critical. The risk isn't just tech, it's us, the humans.
So practical steps?
Use a dedicated, audited password manager, no excuses. And critically, train yourself. Really train yourself to instantly spot social engineering red flags and those increasingly sophisticated phishing attempts. That vigilance, that's the protective shell around all these other skills.
Okay, wow. Let's try and wrap this up. We've covered a lot. 8 specific skills for 2025. The adaptive mindset, the AI and data superpowers, the emotional and creative edge, visibility through branding and solid remote communication, and finally, that crucial security hygiene.
Yeah, and the big takeaway from all the research is just adaptation is mandatory now. If you don't embrace this kind of learning lifestyle, you don't just stand still, you actively fall behind pretty quickly too.
That is a huge list, though. If someone listening is feeling, maybe understandably, a bit overwhelmed right now, where do you suggest they start? You can't boil the ocean, right?
Absolutely not. Don't try to do it all at once. The sources actually suggest a pretty concrete three-step plan to start, like today. First, just choose two skills. Two from this deep dive that really resonate with your immediate career goals right now.
Okay, just two.
Just two. Second, create a 30-day micro-learning plan for those two skills. Set SMART goals specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. Schedule the study time like we talked about with learning sprints, and track your weekly progress.
And the final piece, to keep the motivation going.
Find an accountability partner, or join an online community focused on the skill you chose. When learning feels like a supportive lifestyle, not some lonely chore you have to tick off, that's when you start adapting faster. And the person who adapts fastest, they win. That
That is such a vital, practical framework. Okay, we really want you to start that 30-day plan today. And remember, every insight really does get deeper on the second listen, so make sure you save this deep dive in your library. Next time on the deep dive, we're going to unpack a recent, kind of surprising study on high achiever procrastination. Yeah, why the most driven people often struggle the most to start their biggest, most important projects, and the 2 simple mental hacks they use to break through that paralysis instantly. You won't want to miss that one.